Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here because, well, we're tackling something that frustrates literally all of us. Have you ever wondered why you can be absolutely crushing your goals, totally dialed in, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, you just completely self-destruct? It's like your motivation just evaporates. Today, we're going to decode exactly why our self-discipline mysteriously vanishes, and I'm going to give you a highly practical framework to get it back.
We've absolutely all been in this exact scenario, right? You're doing so great on a new habit. Maybe it's a new diet, a totally optimized workflow at your job, or a strict commitment to just stop doom scrolling on social media at night. And then suddenly, you cave. You break the rule. And what's our immediate reaction? We brutally criticize ourselves. We look in the mirror and think, man, I'm just weak, or I guess I just don't have what it takes. It is an incredibly frustrating, heavy feeling to genuinely believe your character is fundamentally flawed just because you skipped one workout.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this quote from author Ben Angel. It completely reframes that exact feeling of guilt. He points out that society treats willpower like it's some sort of magic pill. You know, just swallow it, try harder, and be better. But that completely ignores the core biological reality here. Low energy directly dictates your behavior and your mood. When we fail, it isn't a failure of character. It's actually a failure of energy.
Section 1. The Willpower Illusion. Shifting from morality to reality.
To truly grasp this, we really need to understand where our toxic ideas about self-discipline even come from. We're going to break down the historical myth that a lack of willpower is somehow this deep moral failing. If we look back to 1874, the modern concept of willpower emerged as a literal moral force. It was heavily used to condemn people, particularly for drunkenness, framing a lack of discipline as this kind of deep moral rot. But treating willpower as a moral failing? That is a 19th century trap. Today, we know for a fact that willpower is heavily energy dependent. I mean, in the mid-20th century, psychologist B.F. Skinner even argued that human behavior is so dependent on the consequences of our previous actions that free will itself might just be an illusion. Now, while the absolute truth probably lies somewhere in the middle, the takeaway is crystal clear. Your sudden lack of discipline is rooted in reality, not a lack of morality.
Section 2. Biology over morality. The muscle and the gorilla.
Okay, let's dive into this, because this is where we shift the narrative away from how society judges us and look at how our bodies actually manage self-discipline on a day-to-day basis. I want you to start thinking about your willpower literally like a muscle. Just like your biceps after a super heavy lifting session at the gym, your willpower muscle fatigues when it's overused. Low physical and mental energy directly equals low willpower, period. So I want to give you permission right now to stop brutally criticizing yourself when you slip up. Your willpower muscle is simply tired. It needs recovery, not a harsh lecture. And this brilliantly illustrates what happens next. Meet your unconscious mind. Our source material describes it as an 800-pound gorilla, or sometimes an unruly, cranky child. Its sole aim is immediate gratification, protecting your self-esteem and seeking comfort over effort. When your biology is compromised and your rational brain is just fatigued, this stubborn, comfort-seeking gorilla simply steps in and takes over the steering wheel. And hey, an 800-pound gorilla goes exactly where it wants to go.
Section 3. The HALTS checklist, your biological safety check.
So how do we actually tame the gorilla? We need a highly practical, actionable system. Enter the HALTS strategy. Think of it as a biological safety check. It is a mandatory protocol you need to run before you make any major decisions and absolutely before you start beating yourself up over a perceived failure. You have to pause and check if your biology is actually the thing working against you.
HALTS is a powerful acronym that stands for 5 very specific states: hungry, angry, lonely, tired, and sick. Each of these conditions aggressively drains your internal energy reserves. When you're hungry, your brain literally lacks the glucose it needs to make rational choices. When you're angry or lonely, emotional distress consumes all of your mental bandwidth. And when you're tired or sick, your body naturally shifts all its available energy simply toward basic survival and recovery. Any single one of these states instantly triggers that inner trickster gorilla to bypass your goals and just seek instant comfort.
So here is how you actually deploy the checklist in real life. Step 1. Pause. Just stop what you're doing and take a breath. Step 2. Run through the 5 states. Ask yourself honestly, am I hungry? Am I angry? Lonely? Tired? Sick? Step 3. Fix your biology before you do anything else. Eat a healthy snack, take a quick walk around the block to cool off, call a friend, take a nap. You absolutely must address the physical and emotional need before you can demand high-level willpower from yourself.
Let's move to Section 4 and see how this builds into something even bigger, beyond willpower, building long-term defenses.
So the crucial point is that managing your biology is the ultimate short-term fix. But to truly thrive, we need to build long-term behavioral strategies that don't rely on us being perfectly rested and fed 24/7. We really need to understand the vast difference between willpower and self-discipline. Willpower is short-term, it's highly temporary, and as we've learned, it actively drains your energy reserves. Self-discipline, however, is long-term. It's habit-based, meaning it runs on automatic pilot without constantly draining your internal battery. Because willpower is so short-lived, you can't rely on it forever. You must use it primarily to form positive habits that will carry you through when your energy inevitably dips.
The ancient philosopher Aristotle captured this beautifully. He said, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit." Your willpower is not the engine that drives your whole life, it's really just the starter motor. You use that short, intense burst of willpower to build a long-term machinery of self-discipline and daily habits. Once that habit is built, well, the gorilla is tamed.
But what happens when the machinery temporarily breaks down? Because it will. You need to be deeply aware of a psychological trap called the abstinence violation effect, or AVE. This is that common, incredibly frustrating tendency to completely give up after a single lapse. It's like having one tiny bite of a piece of cake on your diet and then saying, well, I ruined it, I might as well eat the entire cake. We have to completely destigmatize this relapse cycle. Falling into this trap is a very normal human reaction to stress or high-risk situations. It's not a fundamental moral failure. When it happens, accept it, run your HALTS checklist, and get right back on track.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to challenge you to apply this framework literally right now. Look at your own life today. Which of the HALTS is draining your willpower at this exact moment? Are you secretly exhausted? Are you letting a lingering resentment make you angry? Are you skipping meals and wondering why you just can't focus? Identify your trigger, fix your biology, and watch your ability to conquer your goals naturally return. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I challenge you to keep exploring what truly drives your habits.